Welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. This is BlastboxxTV speaking of Fist of Drags on the mic. I'm just here to do a video that I've been trying to do for the past, I'm say about a month or two, whatever. About some stuff that I've been through, former employers, stuff like that. You know, the routine. Some people, when they get left somewhere or they leave somewhere, they make a video about the experience. I'm gonna do that today myself. And honestly, if you frequent some of these places, you might hopefully think twice, because honestly it's alarming how so much these people get away with stuff. But it is what it is. When the government is owned by corporations, stuff like this is going to happen. So some of these are before the pandemic, so take that in consideration. If you want to see the timeline of these employments with them, I will put them there. There are some I omitted because I guess my time there was short because I wasn't going to stay there long, or I just enjoy working there. So yeah, the first one I'm gonna get into is Flick's Brew House. I started working there in 2015 after working, I'm saying, like 4 years for a family business. This is after I worked for Walmart. That's a whole different story. I worked for Walmart. They let me go in 2011. Some false allegation stuff, which never panned out. So I worked for Flicks. I'm from, I guess, the June of the year, the first year they opened, to sorry about that. To I do believe November 22nd, a few days before. No, it's not a few days. Days before Thanksgiving, having all employees Thanksgiving celebration, whatever. That everybody come in. That's where my termination came, because I walked out due to management intentionally having me work that shift by myself and not giving me any help. It made it even worse that several employees came in that saw I was working by myself, and they came in to help. And honestly, that shows the humanity that some of the people had. They came in to help and even got irritated that I was doing it all by myself, which management already knew that. And it only confirms at the end of the day that the GM is racist. And people can say, how can you say that? Well, one of the guys who I worked with at one of the other locations I worked with, that's not on the list, he even came out and told me that my former boss, whatever, at Flicks was a skinhead. So he intentionally did that so he can get rid of me. Not knowing the fact that I can turn around and make a video like this and he cannot do anything about it. He was one of those people that never once worked in the kitchen. He never knew what stuff was supposed to be. Mind you, I was a dishwasher at that job. I was mostly working nights and stuff like that. It was all right for the time being, but when I started to get annoyed with the job, I started hearing things from other people, like how my homeboy Harold, him and his girl Kira, they was expecting kids, whatever. They fired him over some stupid stuff, and then they started locking the doors at night because they thought he was coming in, which might seems like, oh, that's the extent they deserve it. But here's the thing: they were intentionally making up lies. They was intentionally trying to stir drama into people's relationships and stuff. That's what happened. That's why Harold went to jail, probably for that. From there, my buddy Adam, he was let go because of some stuff that management was doing that caused him to have some issues. And he said that's the best thing in his life, because he started his own like real estate company and stuff like that. So yeah, that's good for him. For me, I don't wish anybody to work there whatsoever. The one I worked at, they say it was professional. It was not. When I left there, most of the people I knew was still there, but I think like a few years later, I think around when Wonder Woman came out, I do believe, the first one, I went back there and I saw that the I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna say race. I'm not gonna be racist because I'm black. I'm not gonna slander my own people, but I can tell that the quality of workers went down, and stuff was like food was coming in cold to us or to other customers. Drinks wasn't always on time, stuff like that. And honestly, that place went down here. Now I do believe it's closed due to the pandemic, but I really don't believe it's gonna open back up due to movies going to streaming and nobody want to be in a petri dish. That's pretty much what a theater is. But yeah, I don't wish anybody to work there. If you want to, that's on your own volition. But just know people like me who work there, who know the culture, and I'm talking about just the Indiana location. I'm not talking about all the other locations. Do not work there because it is not worth your time, and it's not worth your money, and it's not worth your patience. So yeah, it was that one. The next one I'll have to say was Red Robin. It is it was pretty much not that far from Flicks, but that place was just as bad as Flicks. Flicks, the building was clean, the building was always taken care of, stuff like that. Whereas Red Robin, only the outside was pretty much maintained. Uh, Sorry about that. Got a little wind in my voice. Red Robin, it was not taken care of in the building whatsoever. Like I worked as a dish. This is a common thing in my video, and I enjoyed it because it was work and I wasn't being bothered by anybody, and I was pretty much the only person working this, so I enjoyed it and I didn't want to be bothered. Well, there's certain areas in that store that if you look at it, it was dirty. It looked dirty. It felt dirty. They pretty much like if you ask them for a little favor. For me, at that point, I was asking like, can you give me an anti-fatigue mat for my knees because I can't stand on concrete or tiles that long without my knees going wearing down, and you don't want to wear down your employees' health just for some money, then complain when they take time off. That looks bad on the employer, not the employee. And if anybody say anything different, then you are a shield for companies. The employees come first, then the customers. That's the same kind of BS they try to spin to me. Oh, our employees come first, blah, 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 take care of you. They never did. It was never, oh, we're going to help you out. I asked them for a fatigue mat on my birthday when I worked there. They didn't do nothing. They just thought I was going to forget about it. Then so I just start, you know what, I'm drop my level of production quality because you won't give me buy one thing that I need to make sure I work at my full ability. So they didn't do it. So, and then the funny part is they start having people say, oh, he's threatening to kill people, blah, blah, blah. Knowing full well I'm not going to do that. And I don't have any chances. I might joke around, yeah. But I never said, hey, I'm going to hurt somebody. No. They falsified that just have a reason to get rid of me, even though that claim is wrong, and I could have easily taken him to court for defamation of character for his part on me. But I'm not going to waste my time on a stupid company like that. And they fired me because over the dumb thing of social media clause. Why did you post this online? It's like, I already tried to reach out to you guys. Y'all didn't do nothing to help me. Period. So like, well, I talked to the region or the district or whatever all the time, blah, blah, blah. It's like, then he would have known about this. And I already reached out long enough. Then the lady had the audacity to say, well, you're fired, right? The company's still going to operate the way it was being. So I was like, okay, I'm going to contact OSHA after this conversation. And she laughed. But a week later, I looked and boom, it was like a gold mine. Like every position was open for hire. Oh, we need this person, we need this person. I like to think that when I contact the OSHA, they went in there and they cleaned house. Kristen, the female GM, she went off to do something else. My favorite manager, Lindsay, I think she's still there, but they said her level of quality is dropped. And the idiot Alex, who called me a faggot and made fun of my fiance at the time, who's recently passed away, made fun of her as well, and they did nothing about that, even when I called them out on it. But recently, I heard one of the people I used to work with when I was at another company recently, he said that Alex became a drunk and all this stuff. So I'm not gonna say that's bad, but you reap what you sow. You treat people like smack, guess what happened? You're gonna get treated the same way, buddy. And I don't feel bad for you whatsoever. You made your bed, lie in it. Period. I have, and I'm perfectly fine with my choices. But yeah, it's just freaking annoying. So much BS going on in companies, and nobody have the audacity to call them out. And when they do, they jeopardize their job. So if you got this far in this video, just know human resources is not your friend. They say it is not, and you're here why in one of these next parts. And from there, I moved to look up the list because I got this whole thing written down. I went to Giant Eagle the first time. I went there the second time. You hear why? The first time, the pay was good for at the time. I got paid weekly, benefits, stuff like that. But at that time, I was pretty much like $800 in debt to help my fiance at the time with all her medical issues. And I know people out there like, well, you're a sucker for doing that. Well, you don't know the full story. Most of that was her bills. Most of that was my bills. So it wasn't fully just hers. It was mine as well. Once I paid off all the bills and stuff, I took the money and then I went to another job, Residios. Sorry about that. I'm just making some tea. Went to a place called Residios in February 2017, I do believe. Just like a day shy or whatever from I think February 27th, 25th, I do believe. I was at Residios. I was working this like always, but I was making like I think $12, maybe $14 an hour, which was a big upgrade. I was getting paid weekly, and everything was smooth. Came in, I worked about I think five days a week. I had the Sunday and Monday off, which was easy because my friend, she worked my shifts for me. So it worked out all the way. But it started to go downhill. When one of the managers was always harassing my friend who was doing my shift for me. And I just got really annoyed with him because he was trying to portray himself like a good guy and everything, but he was doing shady things around people and stuff like that. It came to a head for me actually when I took a phone call to talk about the death of my father, and which was like 2017. I think like a few weeks beforehand. And he was like, no, you can't come back, blah, blah, blah. Even the fact I said to talk to my father, talk about my father's death. However, it was known that he allowed the servers to come and go for like weeks on end, even from shift, just to take off and come back whenever they want to. And that shows you the favoritism. It also shows you the level of racial discrimination in the state of Indiana when it comes to minorities. People say, oh, it's different, blah, blah, blah. I'm just talking about from my experience. It's more racially prejudiced than what people want to say it is. And until we get rid of some people in charge, it's going to stay that way. um, what was it? I knew the writing on the wall for that place was going to fall when one of my checks bounced. First time that ever happened, one of my checks bounced. Um, I went to my bank, which was not even that far from uh um from Rosidio. So it was like probably 10 minutes walking, about a minute or two driving. So it was pretty much simple. My bank gave me my money, stuff like that. Then the company tried to say, "Hey, you owe us money because of blah blah blah," and I told them, "No, your checks bounced. Don't blame me for nothing. I'm here to get my money and let me go." And I'm pretty sure I lost the video, but I was recording the G the front house manager counting my money when he was taking it out the company out the restaurant safe, because he knew that the company was caught in the what is the word I'm trying to figure out, in a bad position, because my bank was right there. So if they try anything funny, I can just go to my bank and cause a bigger scene and stuff like that. So it is what it is. I also complained, brought up the fact that temporary workers, one of them I actually knew, they were using Windex on all of the clean dishes I made. All of them. So I brought that up. Nobody did anything about it. Come to find out years later, they got shut down for health code violation, which I'm not surprised. And I was told when I left, it's like the quality left. And people start just skipping out on work and stuff. And that is a common thing in my video. It seemed like anytime I leave somewhere working, sometimes the quality and the production drops compared to when I was there. I like to think I brought a positive vibe and a work ethic that was needed, but it was frowned upon because I was trying to make other people look bad. Anyways, from there I was working at odd jobs and stuff like that. I was working somewhere in between Residio's and was it Matt the Miller, until I went to Matt the Miller, and that place was a horrible shit show if I ever seen one. For one, the owner of the company, I'm pretty sure he has more than one location. He took the name from a Irish or a Scottish bar in the UK, and I guess he didn't think people was gonna figure it out. So I contacted him once I was let go because of the blatant BS was gonna nothing happened by it, but I like to think I did the moral thing right there. The GM, I guess his name is named Kevin. He was a black guy. At the beginning he was okay, but he just got unbearable and just annoying and toxic as the days went on and stuff. I would try to work and get my stuff done. He'd be like, "Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me?" It's like, dude, I'm in the middle of something. I'm trying to get this stuff done. I don't need you hounding me for whatever reasons. And he will always try and make me do favors for him so he can come back and say, "Oh, I did you a favor, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, dude, I don't do you favors. I'm never going to do you favors. Leave me alone. That's foreshadow. The owner, for some stupid reason, bought a adjacent restaurant with a restaurant kitchen. So at the beginning of my shift, I usually went to the other kitchen and sorry about that. I went to the other kitchen, I cleaned that up, cleaned the cooler out, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Which I think is kind of stupid. You would put the kitchen. You have two kitchens. Wouldn't you just take one of the would you just remodel the whole thing, make that whole area one thing instead of just two separate kitchens? But I digress. I I'm not gonna say I took pride in it. It was just one of those jobs you just did and just went on with your day. Really didn't care for it. What was it? I got fired because I didn't come in on a Sunday, which I told him and everybody else that I do not work Sundays, and Sundays are my days of going to church and spending time with my family. They said, cool. Then Kevin was like, oh, I fired Lorenzo because he didn't want to come in on a Sunday. And if anything, that is religious, what is the word? Religious discrimination and stuff like that. And even now, I went to apply for an interview at another restaurant that I guess is the sister company of Matthew Miller, and I was not brought on because of my time in Matthew Miller, which I do believe that is sabotage and discrimination. And I really do believe if I were to take this to court, I would have the legal ground because, one, I was let go on a religious basis, which I told him I cannot work, and two, he's hint they are sabotaging my chance of working somewhere. Now, some people can say, oh, you could just find work somewhere else. Well, I like to think that no money can buy people's respect and stuff like that. And I'd rather go into debt showing these people that, hey, you shouldn't be trying to pull stuff like this on people and think you're gonna get away with it than just letting stuff slide. But that is me. I'm not gonna say like out of bitter, but out of the morally right thing to do, instead of just, oh, it's just gonna do this and nothing else gonna happen. But from there, I went to work at Pixology. It was pretty much what you think it is, a pizza place with, I guess, beer and other stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's the best place. What was it? I was working this like usual in this video. The guy, not the guy, the GM was like, we need you to work, blah blah blah. I did it, but the thing is, my location, my area, in the dish area had a hole in the roof, right by the sink. So imagine how hot the area is working the dish machine, and you go over to the sink, it's cold as heck because there's snow coming down, there's water coming in. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all had to know this was up there. And y'all pretty much did nothing to fix it. It does not take that much to fix something like that. But they didn't. I think my focus, my mind on working dish at that point started to change because when I was working there, people were starting to throwing stuff at my area instead of just putting it down safely and just bolting for a door. So my whole mindset is, if I can work days somewhere or somewhere more respectable, I'm going to work there. And that next job came in, Burger House, which I'm going to say that's the only company on this list I'm going to speak highly of because, sorry about that, because I worked there from, I think, March 2018, around the same time that I quit Pixology because I wasn't being treated the way I was supposed to be treated. And I'm not going to be treated less than everybody else. And people can say, well, you got to tough it up. No. You got to learn how to put your foot down somewhere and tell them, hey, I'm not going to accept being second rate or have y'all just do this shit to me and expect, oh, everybody be hunky-dory. No. So when I heard from the Burger House that, hey, we all leave together, all as one, blah, 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 stuff like that, I was like, okay, yeah. So I guess one March night, I was like, no, I'm tired of this. So I just put my stuff down and I just walked out and got my ride. One of the bar managers, dude, was annoying as heck. He was like, well, you're not working here no more, blah, blah, blah. And I already told him. I put on my notes, dude, I really don't care. Then I left and I found Burger House. I was with Burger House up to January 2019. I was dish and prep, which is unique for me at that time. I was getting $10 an hour, which at that point I really didn't care because it was a job and they actually treated people with respect. I think that's like the top tier group of people I enjoy working with. We always joked around. Nobody took everything too seriously. We worked together as a team. We had everybody's back. That's like the perfect team of people you can work with and you can bond with and stuff like that. Everybody enjoyed working with each other. We all laughed. We all just had a good time. Some of us would sometimes come in late, like due to traffic or the vehicle messed up. And the GM, Andrea, she was like, "Don't worry about it, blah blah blah." So she gave people the benefit of the doubt, because most times when she do that, it was pretty much slow. So it was like you wasn't needed that early on. You wasn't needed like urgently on that shift, which was cool because she was more fair than all the other places I worked, but at the same time, if she needed to be firm with her orders and stuff, she came down on people, and it mostly worked for the most part. I met a few people who were friends there. Some of them I thought was friends that we just lost contact because they thought I was wanting something from them, which I didn't. Um, it was fun. Like there would be days where it'd be slow, and Andrew would be like, "Hey, I'm gonna need you to say go clean around the dumpster and stuff like that," and that's what I did. I took like a big bucket, no one, I think 22-liter buckets, I think that's what it's called, and I just put bleach, put the cleaning solution in it, and I just dumped around the dumpster, and I just cleaned. I did it because one, I needed something doing. Two, I actually trusted her as a GM because she was comfortable. She knew what she was doing, and she respected everybody, and everybody respected her for the most part. I think it started to go down here with some of the original people started leaving. It was all right though. We we got some new people, some people we didn't, but we mostly retained like the majority of the people while I was there. It's just towards like the end when just I think around like August, maybe September, when we started losing more people, and we probably retained all the important cooks that we had, so we really didn't lose per se many people. We just lost people who just wanted to go somewhere else. Um, my time there ended in January because they hired somebody, like I said about the flicks, the guy who told me about Ron being a racist. He was also a racist, and he would bug me about my stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm out. I gave him a mass email to everybody. I was like, no, I am out officially as of tonight because I'm not going to be subjugated to racist tendencies and behavior, all because this dude want to feel like he won something. He didn't. He got fired because he was unfit for the role, and he was also asking women for like nude pictures and stuff like that. And for the most part, I don't think anybody did anything about it. They just fired him because of just his work ethic and stuff like that. But yeah, I left there, and at the same time, I was working at not Giant Eagle, Texas Roadhouse, and I was working that December up to a month after I left Burger House, and I think certain people should not be in control of companies or stores. Like the guy I worked for, Jack, for the Texas Roadhouse location. He was pretty much just stuck up, annoying old dude, whatever, complaining about any and everything, hardly at the store, always complaining about when people are trying to have fun and stuff, and always complaining about who knows what. And his wife was working there too, so that makes it worse. I wouldn't, like, for me, I would not even dare to work there anymore, and I'm glad I was fired because I have no problem working for a comfortable, respectable manager. But if you're sleazy, you're lazy, you're always complaining, you're always stuck up, I'm not gonna give you my best effort. Period. Working for a burger house that long, that shows you if you treat others with respect, you're gonna get the best out of them. But if you treat me like, oh, you're second rate or you always doing this bad, blah blah blah, I'm not gonna give you my full effort. So I left. I was let go there, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even salty or anything. I'm just gonna chill. Um, then I went back to Giant Eagle the second time, 2019, like in March. So that was like more like a day. No, not like a day. A month. Um, less than a month from when I left Texas Roadhouse, and I was working there. I did better than my first time because the first time I was working dish, but I was working nights. When I was working at not Texas, Giant Eagle, this time I was working only mornings because I made sure they knew I'm only working mornings. I'm not going to work nights anymore because I'm not going to work till like 11 o'clock at night. Um, I think it was okay from at the beginning, stuff like that. I'm not going to say had the perfect attendance, but I was late due to outside forces that caused me to be late during that time, and someone still dealing with some of that. If you know if you know what I'm talking about, you know. Um, but yeah, I was busting my ass pretty much. Like, I would help the servers make like double or triple amount of money they usually make, like doing shifts and stuff like that. I had one incident with an employee there, Fenicio, cool dude. At the beginning, he was somewhat controlling, but towards like the middle, towards the end, he started to see the ways of what they wanted me to do around there, and he'll just wave off and say, "Okay, I see you when you get back" and stuff like that. Even though I tried to tell him that beforehand, but yeah, me and him got an incident where it was like I was trying to do my job, and he started cornering me and stuff, and pushed me around, grabbed my arm, and I told him like, "Hey, dude, I'm taking this to what was it? I'm taking this to the managers." Well, the managers pretty much did nothing about it. And one of the managers who was actually his friend, so she did nothing about it. They just did what they did to cover it up. So I went to HR and I told HR about it, and they was like, yeah, this is wrong, blah blah blah." And then that's when I guess my location, my department lead, he was like, you should have told me, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Dude, you was out of." He told me he was out of town. What I was like, by the time I told you, this would have gone on like for more than like 3 weeks now. So I was like, "Nah." I went to directly to HR. And the next day, he was like, "Okay, we're gonna have to sit down and talk, blah blah blah," because everybody else didn't take it as seriously as I did, and it shows. Like I said, sometimes HR would be your friend, sometimes they will not. Um, they looked into it, it's like, "Yeah, this is ground for blah blah blah." One of the not the GM, the HR in the store, she was full of it. She was like, "Oh well, we can't discipline temporary workers, blah blah blah," which was a load of BS because the corporate HR was like, "Yeah, we can, as long as you're working for this company, um, you can be subjected to termination or punishment of whatever degree." So I knew they were up to something, doing something like that. And honestly, if I didn't talk to HR, I would have just gone strictly to the police, and I would have at least came out with like $500,000 or whatever, because I'm there doing my job. I'm not bothering anybody, and dudes grabbing people. And it was like getting out to the point where I was trying to help out in other departments that they was asking me to do, and he will follow me. So it's like, yeah, dude, I'm getting tired of this. But towards the end, like me and him develop a bond, just work together, got stuff done. Um, yeah, we just enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. But I was let go due to, um, I guess, yeah, my attendance and stuff like that. And like I said, that was out of my control because situations called for it, and livability was eh. So if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I'm not gonna go too much in detail about it, but if you've been in a situation with me where your living conditions were not up to par, you will understand. Um, but yeah, I was let go there, and even now when I try to reapply, they be like, "No, we got other candidates," and it's like, you're discriminating against me because of my attendance back then, even though my time is a lot better now, because back then I was used to working nights, so my body was not accustomed to getting up early in the morning and stuff like that at that time. But yeah, I have no ill will against that. It's just I heard certain people also um Like one of my friends, Miss Terry, she's a black cook, got her degree in there and everything. She was like, this dude tried to sexually harass me, put his hands on me and stuff like that. And the store manager or whatever his name, whatever his title was, he was like, well, nothing happened, blah blah blah, even though everything was filmed on the phone. So I like to think she actually got a lawsuit out of that, because you should not be putting your hands on anybody, especially somebody of a different race, because this is not this is not the 1960s or 40s or any of that. This is 2019 at that point in time. But yeah, I was let go from there. Um, what was even more worse about that is they terminated me a day after Christmas, and they tried to play it off like, oh, this is nothing, blah blah blah. I do well. It's like, you fired me after one of the only holidays that means something to people, and you want me to be all grateful? No, period, no. So they still harbor a grudge now, even when I do apply for the same position. I pretty much at this point do it for trolling. They still deny me, so they got some kind of discrimination against me, but it is what it is. From there, I went to work for Big Woods in Noblesville or whatever. I worked there. I think like from January 25th to I think March 29th or whatever it is, when the pandemic caused the shutdown of everything. I was working nights and sometimes mornings, but I was mostly working nights. They had me work with like a old 50-year-old dude, black dude, who never worked in the kitchen in his life, and he would always skip out hours before shift was over, leaving sticking me with all the other stuff that had to be done. Um, so I got annoyed with that. And another dude I was working with, um, he just dipped out. He's like, no, I'm not gonna work here anymore. From what I heard or what I know, he was like, I'll be right back. I'm about to pull my car up closer to the building, so such and such, yeah. Which is very common for certain restaurant to give that kind of leeway. But he just got in the car and he never came back. So yeah, he was pretty much done. They wanted me to work nights there. I was like, no, you had me working with a dude who don't work in the kitchen, never have spirits in the kitchen, and I was here till like 2 o'clock in the morning, dude. I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. You say you need two people working this thing. Why is it one guy just take off like when it's time to start wrapping up? I'm not doing that no more. No, peace. So yeah, they furloughed me, whatever, because of the pandemic. Then um at that time, I think at the same time, I was interviewing for MCL, which is gonna be on this list next. Uh-huh. On this list next, and I was like, let me work here, blah blah blah. He was like, well, we can't hire you right now because of the pandemic, but we will bring you on once the lockdown is over with. So on May 8th, 2009, no, 2020, they was like, yeah, we're gonna bring you on, blah blah blah, $10 an hour, every 90 days we get your evaluation. Um, what was it? Increase your pay, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And I can tell you now, they never once did what they said they was gonna do. Never once they said, oh, never did. No, they never once they kept the word saying, oh, we'll increase your pay by a certain amount, blah blah blah, every 90 days. And I was actually counting every day. It was like, oh, this is getting close to 90 days. This is getting close to 90 days. Then once it hits April, not April, August, I was like, my 90 days been up, dude. I want to see my increase, because I'm not going to be stuck working at this dead end job, just because you think I'm gonna be foolish enough to just stay at this pay rate. So they was like, matter of fact, they never even once approached me about it. I was like, I want them to initiate it. Come on. They never did. And I was only getting paid like $135 an hour. Granted, I wanted to work 5 to 9 because I'm not going to be there all day with that place, because that place was not up to code. And I can tell you that for a fact. They had chairs, like fabric chairs or whatever, but like the cushions and stuff in the bathroom. mere inches from like the bathroom stall and stuff like that. It looked decrepit in that bathroom, stuff like that. There were certain areas in the restaurant where it was like paint was fading, or there was like a whole bunch of mildew or mold and stuff. And I'm like, nah, I can't be here. Nah, I just dipped. Then at that point I started working for what was it? Joella's Hot Chicken. Sorry about that. September, and I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm gonna be working as a breader, which a breader is they brine the chicken, they make sauces, and they fry the chicken. So I was doing that, blah blah blah. Then it started getting slow, and it was like we gotta consolidate some of the positions and stuff. So it was like, hey, we need you to work both stations, the fry and the breader. Sorry about that. You think I'm crying? No, it's just my throat, sinuses and stuff. But yeah, I was working that position. I did everything I had to do. At first, I didn't know what to do because I wasn't trained to do that at the beginning. Then I started to know what to do, and I became more, well, I want to say, valuable to the company because of it. But when the female GM came in, she was like 24 maybe. She was like, hey, she brought fresh air to it more. Damn it. She brought more life to the morning crew, so to speak. More, I'm gonna say more relatable, even though the previous GM, he was pretty much my age, just off about like a few months. But towards the end, I was like, hey, it was around August and stuff like that. I was like, hey, when can I get my pay raise? I just want like 30 cents or 50 cents, whatever it is. She's like, well, you got to take this course. You got to do all of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, people was taking the courses. She just didn't approve them, or she just didn't want to give people their pay raise. So she was pretty much being shady and was like, oh, you get your pay raise on the next check, blah, 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 which nobody ever did. And people got really fed up with her and how management and everything was doing. Even it was even like reported that her friend who got brought on as a manager, she was like, oh, I was sleeping with one of the guys. And that's a very recurrent thing. That whole thing was she was sleeping with some of the employees on personal time. You know what I mean? Personal time, I mean like off the clock at their own residence and stuff like that. Um, she she pretty much gave her friend free will to do whatever the heck she wants to do. Uh, Her friend even caught the virus, and instead of shutting down the restaurant for at least like 5 days or whatever, the GM, she was like, no, it'd be okay, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that is not the CDC guidelines. That's not the practice. Is you shut it down for 3 days and you clean this place. She didn't do it. What happens? The regional, he almost caught it, but his test came back negative, but Jim hers came back positive. So she was gone for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, that's poetic justice. You didn't want to close it down to spare everybody else from getting sick, and then you got sick. So I was laughing about that every day, and it got so bad that it was like understaffed heavily. Like there'd be days where it would be only like two people, me and the manager, and they had to call somebody to come in, or they had to run double duty. And they were like, "Oh, we appreciate you," but yet they didn't want to. She didn't want to increase my pay. So you can't appreciate me if you don't want to increase my pay, despite the fact I've been there doing the whole pandemic, the whole 10 year. I did everything you asked me to do. Being respectful. All I asked was like, give me $30 pay, 30 cents pay, and she didn't want to do it. So it's like whatever. So then she like started making up some excuses for me about me and stuff like that, like taking me off the clock because I would call off for unnecessary reasons. Which honestly, anytime I call off is something important like my knees, which I do have bad knees, I call off so I can go to the doctor and get my knees checked out. In which that's what I did. And then she was like, well, you kind of lied about your knees. Like, anybody who knows, who see how it works, knows that my knees are not a joke. When I say I cannot work because my knees are shot, that means they are shot and I need to give my body some time to rest. Then she took me off the schedule, and I'm like, okay, what does that do to me? Period. I mean, granted, I was making $13 an hour, but at the same time, I was there for the understaffing. I was there for all the drama. All I asked was like 30 cents. If you can't manage to get somebody 30 cents, then you don't need to be in management or whatever. So I left there, worked odd jobs and stuff like that. And pretty much that this goes in the last segment, the last one. I worked for this place called Local Eatery and Brewery. No, and Pub. I would say this place, if you're desperate for work, work here. But if you're not, do not work here, because this place was heavily, heavily just disgusting. Like, period. It might look clean for the uninitiated, but it looked disgusting to me. For one, the mop sink, which you know what that is, it's like a sink for the mops, and like the mop bucket and stuff like that was like arm lengths near like a stack of bread. So that's cross contamination right there. And right next to the sink mop was the refrigerator with food in it. So another way of cross contamination. The owner was pretty much just highly unprofessional. Never wore gloves when he was prepping food or anything. Which, rule number one, when you're working in a restaurant, you always wear gloves. He did not. So I'm like, why would I work for a dude who's not going to abide by the rules? They was in place before he was born. They're gonna stay in place. But yeah, I got really fed up with the place. They didn't have a scheduling system. All it was is the system manager was like, I'm just gonna write down the schedule on a piece of paper, and then I'm just gonna send you a picture of it. They didn't have no sense of professionalism, because you need a scheduling system that people can go by, not just, oh, I sent a picture. And there was a few instances where the manager and the assistant manager wasn't on I&I. So it was like, can you come in on this day, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm already scheduled for that day. So it tells you how dysfunctional it is. And then the woman had the audacity to be like, well, you need to communicate better, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I told her I was taking time away, like for a day, because somebody I knew had the pituitary tumor in their brain. I was spending time with them. And she was like, you need to communicate better, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I texted her and I even called her. And I even told her what was going on. She's like, okay, don't worry about blah, blah, blah. But she forgot, or she's wanting to play dumb and say, oh, you're not working here no more. I'm like, okay, I really don't care. So if you learn anything from my video, in my tenure of places, don't work at some of these places. They might say that they're for you, they want to help you. They're not there to help you. They're only there to use you for as much as your body can endure. And then when you speak up and want to better your opportunities or better your pay, they kind of want to be an asshole and be over dramatic. So don't put up with their bullshit. Don't put up with their hiding thou mentality, because believe it or not, they're all human. They can all die some type of way. So I don't harbor any grudge, which you might think this really is. I'm just giving you a highlight of what I had to go through, so nobody else had to go through it. And honestly, it's funny to me. So I'm gonna try to post this on social media. Um, I expect at least one of these companies to try to reach out and talk about it, but I'm not gonna put any stock into it. And I want to also say I forgot to add this for the Residio's portion of this. Um, I got to the point where I was like, I'm getting disgusted with this place once they fire me because of unjust reasons. So I started spamming their stuff with negative feedback. You know what? I was being an asshole, but I don't care. Then it got to the point where they had a lawyer send me a cease and desist. And honestly, I can tell you, I just wrote that up and I burned it. I just wrote up and burned it. I even told their lawyer, there's nothing you can do that can stop me from talking about them like in this way, because they're on borrowed time with how um how they're violating so many rules in there. And what happened? Like I said in this segment, they got shut down, forced to shut down. So it's like karma bit them in the ass hard that time, and I haven't heard nothing from that lawyer since. So it goes to show, if you stick by your guns and stick by your morals, um, you're not gonna harbor any grudge. You're not gonna be stuck in the past. You're gonna be successful in everything you do. Speak up for yourself, even if they don't like it. You know what? At the end of the day, you spoke what was on your mind, and if they don't like it, that shows you they're not the type of people you should trust or give any benefit of doubt for. Because at any point, they can turn around and fire you and make up some slanderous reasons. So yeah, hope you enjoy this video. I know it's very too long. I know I get a little coughing in it, but it is what it is. Almost an hour long. Just remember one thing. This is Blast Rage. Stay out of the Blast Rage. You might just get burned.